Hey, what's up, garden friends? Welcome to Field Trip, and in this episode, I'm going to talk to you about the joys and beauty that is compost. For those of you who garden at home already, you know that success often begins with your soil. Now, you can build up your soil at home a number of different ways using so many different organic amendments and organic material and matter that to kind of break up that clay soil, enrich your soil, bring it back to life a little bit. Depending upon what you're growing, you might want to add different things, but I'm telling you, success often begins right down in the dirt, right there in that soil. So I like to make my own compost here at home and try to use what I have on hand. We have oak trees, I've got a little bit of lawn clippings, we've got clippings from perennial plants and flowers that we grow out front, a little bit of fruit tree waste, not much, some sequoia trees as well, but just the typical smorgasbord of just yard waste. And I chop it up, mix it up, even a little bit of my kitchen scraps, the eggshells, the coffee grounds, the fruit peels and whatnot. Everything except for probably the meats and cheeses, anything too oily. I avoid adding that. But for the most part, it all goes into here, the grinder, which is just a big pile in my backyard. Now, the smallest you can go in your compost, like most people probably already know, you're probably like, I know this, 3 feet by 3 feet by 3 feet, that's a cubic meter. That's the utmost smallest you can go. So that's, if you want to start, you can start with that and go from there. But this one's obviously quite a bit bigger than that, but not huge. I'm sure some people are watching going, man, mine's bigger. But hey, I'm jealous. But you know, it does the trick. But lately I had to do a thing. I did a thing. I put up a play set for my children. I've got 3 young boys, all under 3, some twins and a 3-year-old here. And so we put up a play set. The problem is the thing was huge, so I had to move my compost pile. And while I did that, I moved it, I turned it over, and actually I noticed that it was actually needed a good turning, which is really gonna help speed things up. We have really hot, dry summers. My pile was a little bit too dry, but now I've mixed it. We've had some rains, and it's steaming on the inside when I do poke in there. So it's pretty cool. Even though it's winter time, I'll dig in there and see steam escape out in the morning. So pretty cool. But in this video, I want to show you the finished result. I'm gonna grab the camera and get a look for you. We have the finished pile over here. So because as I kind of moved my pile, I had to shrink it. And so I was like, you know what, let me harvest a bit of the finished compost because this pile's been going for a while. So I did sift a bit of it, not all of it, and I'll show you what it looks like. It's beautiful. I'll show you how I did it, and just a few really simple things to consider when you're sifting your own compost. It's actually really easy. I'll just tell you right now. I get 2 buckets that I keep with me for removing things. One bucket is my trash bucket. Sometimes you'll get plastic pieces or whatever. Stuff just gets in there. Little bits and pieces like toys and things that just don't belong. Any inorganic material gets pulled out in there. But my second bucket is actually also for inorganics, but it's rocks. So I have 1 bucket for garbage, things that I just cannot deal with, plastics and garbage. And the other one is for rocks, because the rocks I can reutilize somewhere in the garden. I just noticed that oftentimes when I'm sifting, the good stuff falls through, but oftentimes what I'm left with is either material that needs to go back into the pile for longer breakdown, for more cooking. But then I also have a little bit of trash, some plastics. I don't want any of that, right? And then any rocks and big rocks in my soil, I don't need that either. I'll utilize those somewhere else in the garden. So quick, let me show you how I did that, because I actually took the lazy person's approach to sifting my compost. Sometimes I'll get out there and hand sift and really get physical with it. This time I was able to sift without too much effort, and I'll show you how right now. Let's take a look. All right, let's take a look at how I actually did this. You can see I cheated a little bit. Instead of hand sifting it myself, I'm just using an old chair, old patio chair with metal mesh little seat there. I'll take scoopfuls from the compost pile, and I kind of just work it around. Really easy. Like I said, I keep my 2 buckets on hand, because what we're left with, whatever doesn't fall through into the compost pile, that goes, if it's organic matter, it goes back into the compost pile, maybe gets chopped up a little bit more, and gets reintroduced. But also that's when I find plastic or garbage that doesn't belong, rocks, and I pull all those out. And I guarantee it, I'll find at least 1 bit of rock or 1 bit of trash. Just depends. And you know, it might be different for where you're at, depending upon if you know what's getting in there. Sometimes I'll have, you know, just people helping, or sometimes just things are out here and just make their way into the garden. Like I can see some things already. A little bit of garbage right there. It's like some felt or something. Oh, there's a rock right there. That'll go into my, boom, there we go. Now just for the sake of the video, I'll scoop up, I'll say this is all extra, although it's, let me see here, I'm gonna speed it up. Nice. another rock. And so this comes out, and let's take a closer look at this actual finished product. All right, so just to remind you, this is kind of what the pile begins as, just a mixture of branches and leaves and twigs and sticks and yard waste, kitchen waste and whatnot. You can kind of see there. Oh, look at there, there's the play set. But this is what we've sifted, or actually I sifted. And even when I had it done the other day, it's been raining quite a bit, so it's been holding a lot of moisture. But even my son said, he's like, ooh, it's fluffy. But you can see this is the finished compost, and it just crumbles. Even though it's been raining quite heavily, it still kind of crumbles apart. You'll notice it doesn't stay like in a squeezed ball without too much pressure. It just breaks apart. So there's not much clay in there. It's mostly organic matter for the most part, and you can just see it. I wish you could feel it and smell it. It just smells kind of earthy and sweet. You can get a closer look. It's just made up of a lot of like little breadcrumbs and pieces. So now you can change that by how big, when you sift, how big those openings are. Now I didn't cover this after I sifted it, and so you might see some leaves in here and maybe some acorns are kind of falling in there, but it's been really, really nice. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bag some of this up. I'm gonna use some of it right away to do some top dressing in my garden and put it right to use, save some for a rainy day, but that's it. And you can see, not bad. That's actually, I know it's hard to tell the scale from the video, but that's, you know, that's probably its own cubic meter right there of just material, and finished, ready to use. I can blend it in and make some potting mixes if I want with it. I could sift it further and make like a seed germination mix, or like I said, I could just use it as amendment, top dressing, what have you. But it is killer. I mean, look at that, just so rich. It's hard for the color to even come through in the video, but in person it's super dark right now. On video it looks quite a bit lighter, but it's very, very dark, and just, that's the best stuff. So soil is the key to success out in the garden. It all starts with using what you have, where you are. But sometimes you can go purchase it. You might be able to get your hands on some from friends or whatnot, but if you got material, don't just throw it away. If you got space, chop it up, mix it up, consider composting, because I'm telling you, it is just it's the key to success. It all starts with really good soil, and compost is a great way to build up your soil. If you have hard clay, soil that's really compacted or doesn't drain well, compost has this amazing ability to kind of reinvigorate your soil, break down those clay bonds, and bring it back to life, and allow it to be a soil that has not only is rich with nutrients, but also can breathe and drain, hold air and water in ratios that really are going to be helpful for root development and plant growth overall. So compost, compost, compost. Make it yourself if you can. I'm telling you, I'm trying to encourage you. It's really easy. If I can do it, anyone can do it. And just look at the results. Oh my gosh. And you saw how I sifted that. Not a lot of bending down or all that. If you can kind of just stand up and, you know, use a shovel a little bit, then you can sift this. This took me maybe just a few hours of sifting off and on when I got a few moments of the day, in between the rain, in between the naps. But there you go, friends. Not to take too much of your time, thank you. If you've been around this long, please like, share, subscribe. I thank you so much for tuning in and checking this out, and I hope you have a great garden season. Take care, friends.